Now, let's move on, because there was some pretty big prospect news, I guess you could say, World Junior news, because that's coming up in a little while. Everybody has a take on this, and I think we absolutely need to participate in the World Junior Championships roster release for the Americans. So, I mean, we can just run down the list of who's there very quickly. So, if you don't know, the United States, for their preliminary roster, are bringing Gavin Brindley,
Yes.
noted fans,
Love Gavin.
Quinn Finley. Cool. Sure. Cutter Gauthier, James Haggins. We can talk about Haggins in a bit, because he's kind of having a bit of a coming out party, I think, here. Gavin Hayes, Isaac Howard, Ryan Leonard, Rutger McGroarty, Oliver Moore, Frank Nazar III, got to have that in there, Danny Nelson, Gabe Perreault, Will Smith, Jimmy Snuggerud, Kerry Torrance, and William Whitelaw up front. On defense, you've got Zeev Buyam, Seamus Casey, Ryan Chesley, Drew Fortescue, someone named Patrick Geary, Lane Hudson, Jack Livanovich. It's been a while since I've watched him play and listened to. I think it's Livanovich, something like that.
That was a different one than the first two you said.
Yes, I know. Livanovich. I don't know. Aaron Minetian, Eric Polkamp, one of my back pocket guys. Eric Polkamp, Sam Renzel closes out defense. And in net, you've got Trey Augustine, Jacob Fowler, and a guy named Sam Hillebrandt playing for the Barrie Colts. So, early thoughts. Everybody is asking about Quentin Musty, Cole Eiserman, and Hunter Brustavitz not being on the roster. None of those really surprise me. Maybe Musty a little, but...
yeah, I mean, we watched Musty the last time when was the last time Musty would have been wearing an American jersey? Was that
probably the Hlinka? Yeah, I think it would have been the Hlinka.
That was a camp where I remember watching him play for Team Gray or whatever the hell he was.
Sure.
And he showed up to that camp like he already knew. Well, I mean, he did already know he was going to be on that team. And he was like, I remember being like, this is what you got at this level of play, man. And then the Hlinka, he was fine, but not like what you wanted. I wonder if there was a talk, and it was all rumor, and I'm not confirming anything, but I just wonder if maybe that had credibility and played into it, or maybe there was just another reason, or maybe he's hurt and playing through an injury. I doubt it, because he has been kind of on fire lately,
yes.
Has he not?
He has a ton of production.
Yes. That's the one where I'm like, okay, it's weird. At least like not making the team, I can see it. Not going to the preliminary camp, that's USA being upset about something, maybe. I mean, I don't know.
At first, I'm going, I could kind of see it.
There's a lot of politics that play into things like that. And
yeah,
we can get into the fun part where I don't think the politics play into the Hunter one. But
it's just strange. One, yeah. Like, it's strange that of all the CHL guys they brought, they said no to Musty and said yes to Gavin Hayes and Kerry Torrance. And I really like Kerry Torrance.
I do too, but not. I wonder if the other part of it is just like, you still get some traditional lineup thinking. So like you already know without knowing, the first line is Perreault, Smith, Leonard. Like we all already pretty much know that will be the case.
Probably Gauthier, Snuggerud, McGroarty, because they're older.
Maybe
they're returnees.
True. It could be either way. Like there's your top six in general right there is going to be something like that. And then you've got guys like Oliver Moore and Gavin Brindley also on the team. That's like an unbelievably stacked top nine that Musty kind of doesn't fit in with, especially if you've got like a Moore Brindley line. It doesn't matter who the left wing is almost, as long as they have a lot of pace and just make quick, fast decisions. And Musty wants the puck to kind of do some stuff. And then do you have your traditional, checking fourth line or something like that? Because if you do, Musty doesn't really fit on it. Neither does Cole Eiserman.
Right. I also will say, I think from what I understand about USA Hockey is they value their NTDP program like a lot,
as they should. It's
and
amazing.
I thought that this was true, and I googled it to make sure. But Kerry Torrance did play on the NTDP last year for a little while.
Yeah, he's played in the jersey.
Yeah, so he's worn that jersey. Quentin Musty has not. Right? I don't think he ever was an NTDP guy. So that probably factors into it.
A little bit, maybe.
Right.
I don't think Gavin.
He didn't.
Gavin Hayes doesn't have any NTDP history.
I don't think he does either. Yeah, I mean, Gavin Hayes is weird. I mean, maybe he's a guy that gets cut, but who knows?
I think the Musty thing, the Musty one is the one where I'm like, that is an interesting.
Yeah.
Cole Eiserman makes more sense. People look at Eiserman's stat line and expect a different player than he is. His touch with the puck isn't as delicate or like controlled as you think. Like sometimes I'll see him like try and catch a pass and he just straight up bobbles it. Like notably, I don't want to like talk about how that will affect him in the NHL because there's a lot of ways that can be addressed by then. But like we are talking about a tournament that's happening in 3 weeks, and like you're also talking about a guy who doesn't really have a spot in the top 6. That team will score so many goals and own so much possession that like it's a moot point being like Eiserman scores a lot of goals. It's like that they're not going to struggle to score goals. Like that's not what they're going to look for possession guys and stuff like that. And Eiserman's not the most fleet of foot. He doesn't back down physically. Like that's a cool thing. But like, do you want to play him in a checking role? I mean, like I guess you can. There's no downside to it. But like Eiserman's interesting because you could have at the very least shoved him on the first power play unit and then given him like 13th forward or like 12th forward minutes.
Right.
And just let Eiserman bomb like 7 goals across the tournament being fed from Lane Hudson and Smith and all them. But at the same time, that power play is not going to not score. That power play won't score less goals because Eiserman's not on it. It'll just be a more like who scores the goals will just be spread out.
Yeah.
Like we're talking maybe 8 goals versus 9 or something. It's like, and way better 5v5 control.
Yeah. And he'll be there next year.
He'll be there next year.
Maybe even the year after that.
I don't think Haggins is going to make the team either. I think it would be cool if he did, but I don't think he will.
So let's do that. Let's talk about James Haggins for a little because you've seen a lot of him. I have seen a bit of him. Why is he on the team? Like, why is he here? And a guy like Eiserman isn't.
Haggins can jump in with the big boys and I'm by like the top 6 guys, and he would play at their pace and just like elevate all of them the same way that they elevate each other. Basically, like he just plays so well with smart attackers. Like he's so smart. He's very shifty and agile. He's great short passes. Like you can't even see his. Like there'll be times where I'm watching him and he's like in a kind of a messy board battle, and then suddenly the puck is just out on someone's stick. I'm like, I'll go back and I'll like slowly click pause play at like 0.25, and I'm like, is that Haggins who did this? And then it's just like I just see his stick do boop.
Yeah, and
it's like there's the puck out to somebody, and it's plays like that. He's an incredible open ice attacker. He handles pressure like a legend. He sees. His vision is just incredible. He's one of those like just keep your stick on the ice and Haggins will find you kind of players. Like he deserves consideration for like he 100% deserves consideration. Whether he makes the team, USA's just got a lot of options. They're not trying to make hockey Twitter happy. They're trying to win gold medal. Can Haggins help? Yes. Is the difference between Haggins and someone older different or like substantial?
At this point, yeah. I mean, I guess the point that we're kind of beating around is like this team is loaded.
Yeah, this team is like, loaded.
This American team is loaded. Like I know that today they were supposed to release the Team Canada sort of roster, and they've postponed it a couple. I mean, in my humorous sense of humor, it's because they're terrified of this team, and they're like, well, maybe we should like second guess a little bit of this and like think about this a little more, because I don't know. I think no matter what Canada brings out, I get the feeling that unless Canada gets a bunch of guys back from the NHL, which I just don't know is going to happen, that the Americans are going to be the team, right? Like no matter where you look, even the guys that are like going to be their 4th line, maybe like I don't know, Carey Terrance. I don't know if it'll be like a William Whitelaw down there.
If it's a William Whitelaw down there, that's just hilarious. That's
like you
way
could
too much skill to put on a 4th line. If it's like Terrence and Nelson and someone else, it's like, is that the fancy line? No. Is it going to get the job done when they're out there? Yes. Is a team like this, is like the Swiss team going to see them out there and be like, oh wow, I'm really happy that's not Cole Eiserman? No, they're going to be like, oh man, this sucks. Like no matter what, they're just going to be like, this sucks.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of these guys have played together, especially the NTDP, because they played so much time together. It's like you don't understand the advantage that creates Like when the USNTP went to the Five Nations tournament, the chemistry they had versus the other teams that, you know, didn't have a chance to play many games together and practice many times together for years is so obvious. All talent could have been equal, and the NTDP still would have floored them. The only game they lost, I think, was the Swedish game, where they were up 5-0 going into the third and had a collapse of all collapses. Then it motivated them. I think they scored 20-something goals in the next 3 games.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, real close. You want the NTDP playing together because it's the only national team junior program that like consistently keeps all the kids together all the time. So yeah, bring Danny Nelson, bring the guys who have played together. It makes sense. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we want to really dive in too much, but like the other guy people were confused about was Hunter Brustavits. I think it's as simple as like you have better versions of him already there.
I remember you said this earlier in the chat. It was just like Hudson and Casey are already on the team and both of them do the job better. Hunter's a good player. I don't think it's the OHL politics thing because other guys are there.
Yeah.
Like Gavin Hayes, they didn't look and go like, I'm really mad at Hunter for not, for going to the OHL. But Gavin Hayes is that difference maker we need. I mean, no disrespect to that Gavin Hayes, but it's fine. Just like, I don't think it's the political thing. It's still one of those, like, I would have brought him to the preliminary camp just to see, but like,
I wouldn't have.
Yeah. Like I'm not
like, a huge Hunter Brustavits guy.
I'm not a huge
at all,
fan either. I just know he's improved. I don't know to what extent, cause I haven't like focused in on him yet, but based on everything I've known him up to this point, it's like, you're not a guy that I'm passionate for to play for the USNTDP.
Especially like Aaron Manetian is on the team, and I remember last year thinking Aaron Manetian was more of a refined player.
I like Manetian a lot. I liked Manetian a lot. Just if anything, just for the fun aspect, and like Manetian also kind of brings that offense. Like there's a lot of offensive options.
Yeah, and I mean, I also like Eric Polkamp. I think was someone that a few people sort of shrugged at a little. Like you bring Polkamp, but not Brustavits, and to me, I've watched Polkamp for the last 2 years. Like he was a guy who flirted with my list 2 years ago, and I think was on the tail end last year. And yeah, like he gets around the ice better than Brustavits. He's a better defender, I think. Not great, but neither is Brustavits. So I don't know. I just look up and down this roster and go, yeah, I don't think I take. I mean, maybe Jack Livanovich,
Smooth,
maybe. But in any case, this American team, you can nitpick all you want, but if you're going to
have Casey on one pairing, Hudson on another pairing, you probably don't want a third pairing with another guy who might cause defensive issues. I mean, I'm not saying Casey and Hudson will. They'll have a low light that people will post on Twitter here or there.
Yes, alongside
many other highlights, and they will do the offensive side, like everything that you want Hunter to be there for. Hudson will do better. Like I'm so confident in saying Hudson will do that better, and I'm so confident in saying Seamus Casey will do that better. So it's like, and both played for the NTDP and have USA history, like all just running through their veins. It's obvious why those two are there, and you don't want 6 Lane Hudsons, or maybe you do. If you have 6 Lane Hudsons, the other team might not be able to play attack because they'll never get the puck.
That's so in the clouds, because I hope that maybe happens one day, but I don't think it ever will.
3 Lane Hudsons, tricycle.